Hello,
Oh,
Jim. I'm Nancy from the Sporting Tribune. It's an
hi.
honor to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the
No
time to chat
problem.
with me.
No problem. My pleasure. Thanks for
Well,
setting this up, Alyssa.
yeah, again, thank you, Alyssa.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, well, as
So,
most know by now, Penske recently acquired the iconic Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. And with all the excitement buzzing around, I'm eager to hear your perspective and to dive into what fans can expect in this new chapter. And again, it's a pleasure. You're the heart and soul of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. You've been part of this incredible race for decades. What does this event mean to you personally, and how do you feel now with Penske officially at the helm?
well, I certainly appreciate your comments about the heart and soul. I'm not sure whether it's warranted or not, but
No, it definitely is. You're
it
synonymous with the Acura Grand
it's
Prix of Long Beach.
I have had the privilege of being here from the very beginning. I'm the last of the Mohegans here, if you want to put it that way. But yes, I'm very delighted with what transpired here over the last, well, less than a month ago, for a variety of reasons. One is, aligning ourselves and certainly being acquired by a company of the magnitude of,
Definitely.
Penske Corp and Penske Entertainment is a significant effect on our on the history of this race. Two,
Absolutely.
we couldn't be aligned with a better partner in a variety of different ways. One, they know our business. They're in the business. They run the
Exactly.
500. They run Detroit Grand Prix and Iowa. And
They definitely have experience.
so it isn't like somebody new coming in and acquiring a company and saying, okay, so what do you guys do?
Hmm.
Why do you run a race? Why do you run it for this many days? Why do all of those whys have all been answered in a variety of ways. One is they've all been to our event for years and years and years. So our report card is written here every year in April. People come, they see, they make their assessment. Fortunately for us, a significant number of them come back year after year after year. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that that probably factored into the decision-making process of Roger Penske and his team too, because they knew what they were acquiring. They knew it as well as anybody could. And they did their due diligence and looked at it. So in that sense, it was very favorable. And the other thing is, it did bring a halt to some of the speculation that was going on around about, so what's going to happen to the Grand Prix Association of Long Beach?
Hmm.
One of our partners, our co-partners, had passed away, Kevin Kalkoven in 22, and Jerry had acquired his share this year. But people were obviously asking, so what if it's sold? Who would be sold to? You know, and
Right.
what would be the results of that? Whether it was going to be, another series that was going to be involved, or what the potential was for the event going into the future. So virtually a lot of that speculation is now disappeared.
Yeah.
We are an IndyCar event. Roger Penske owns the IndyCar Series. Roger Penske owns the Indy 500 and all these other races under Penske Entertainment, et cetera. And we're now one of those elements and subsidiaries in that portfolio. So for all of those reasons,
Mhm.
I think it has been a very positive development. And I must say that their familiarity with the event assisted us in the sense that
Yeah.
our team, which is a very seasoned one, our average tenure here is over 22 years. So just like me, these people come and they stay. They
Right.
don't tend to leave, which I have to
Which
think
is
is
a
a good
great feeling
thing.
because that means your heart is in it. And
Exactly. I mean, I have to think that their feeling about the event plays a significant role in terms of their tenure here. But in any case, the Penske organization has recognized the fact that this is a really dedicated team here and are committed to keeping them, on board as we go forward. And I think that's really important because it's helped morale and it relieved any anxiety that people had, which is normal when you're being acquired by, by new companies. So now what? what's going to happen and et cetera. So they've welcomed us with open arms, and so have we. And we're just now really getting into the process of seeing what kind of economies of scale and synergy effects
Right.
we can have between what they're currently doing and what we're doing, and it has potential impact in a number of areas, in terms of operations, in terms of insurance, in terms of workman's comp, in terms of providing guidance from a legal standpoint, et cetera. So there's a number of things that will start to converge as we go forward. But for now, uh,
Everything seems so seamless. What?
yeah, it does. And our focus is, as you well know, Nance, on celebrating our 50th anniversary
Yes.
here in April. And we've already started a number of initiatives in that regard. We've got some announcements coming up literally here in the next week or two,
Oh,
which
wow, very soon.
add, to the activity level there around the Grand Prix. And, we, as I've told our people around here, you only get to celebrate 50th
Once.
anniversary one time.
Yeah.
After that, you don't do it right. You don't do it to the fullest.
No.
Coming back in 51 is not going to be the same.
No,
So we're
exactly.
intending on making a big deal out of it.
And with that, the timing, you're going to spread more holiday cheer. I think it comes at a perfect time.
Right, right. That's true. And like I say, we put 194,000 people in here last year, and that's the second largest IndyCar race, obviously after the 500, and the largest
Right.
sporting event here in Southern California during the year. So we have a substantial following, and we want to make sure that they come and join us when we have this big anniversary celebration.
Exactly. It's maintaining your audience that has been faithful and then also generating a new one. And on a similar note, having such a deep connection to the city of Long Beach, how do you see the community reacting to the Penske acquisition? And what do you think locals will notice most about the transition?
Well, one, if you have to go out and sell the idea that you're being acquired by another company, um, I don't think it's relatively a negative aspect to be able to say this is Roger Penske and Penske Corp and Penske Entertainment. Okay. So
Right.
as you might surmise, the public, to the extent that they're aware of how involved Roger is in motorsports, which some are and some aren't, but the name Penske resonates virtually with everybody because he's touched people with his dealerships and his rentals and his other activities
It's a heavy
outside.
name to drop, as they say.
Yeah, yeah, outside the racing industry. Why there's a tremendous familiarity with that. So the reaction in the city has been very positive. We've had well, obviously we've had a great relationship with the city over these last 49 years. The
Hmm.
city and ourselves, we've sort of grown up together. If you look back to where the city was and its reputation back in 1975 when we started, this was a
Hmm.
Navy town with a little bit of aircraft assembly, but they were anxious to change their image. And we came along at a very proficient time, and the two worked together really well. And now look at the city. It's a burgeoning, a very
Exactly.
dynamic city full of growth. And we look at our event and see a similar kind of characteristics to it. So between the two of us, we sort of grown into where we are together and are delighted that we're going to be able to celebrate our anniversary along with a lot of the achievements that the city is doing or looking forward to, because in 2028 the
Hmm.
city is going to host the second largest number of events for the LA Summer Olympics. Okay, it's right now it's between seven and maybe even eight events are going to be within the city limits of Long Beach. So it'll be the largest collection of events outside City of LA itself, which I think speaks to a lot of this development that transpired with regard to the city and how it's viewed, and equally important, its capability of hosting large events. And I think
Right.
that's where the legacy of the Grand Prix comes into play, because you can't dismiss the fact that this city hosts on a weekend almost 200,000 people, and does it in a very normalized, structured manner. And we've been very fortunate, to have a very family friendly kind of an atmosphere here. And we have a lot of families and children and others who come who aren't necessarily even race fans, but come
They just
because
want the atmosphere.
they hear this is an exciting 3-day experience, and
No,
let's
exactly.
go to the races.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really appreciate about Long Beach is how accessible and fan-friendly it feels. You're walking around, and let's say you're heading over to get some King Taco, and then suddenly you're shoulder to shoulder with Willpower scooting by on his scooter. And I really think that it's that unique blend of approachability and excitement that really makes it so special. So, as you look ahead with Penske, how do you plan to elevate the glamour but still maintain that authentic atmosphere that Long Beach has?
Well, I think what we're going to do, and you'll be seeing the announcements coming out soon, is we're adding some events here that highlight what will be the 50 years of activity here. So when fans come this year, they'll not only experience what they traditionally have, the six races, the activities in the Lifestyle Expo, uh, all the concessions, including King
King
Taco,
Taco.
um, and uh, and the family fun zone,
Hmm.
food truck village, exotic car, all of the things, and the concerts on Friday and Saturday, and all the things that they traditionally have experienced. And then we're going to add in some things that highlight what's transpired over the last 49 years. And over the next couple of weeks, you'll hear things such as announcement about we're going to have a co-grand marshals here for the race. And I think they absolutely fit the history and the legacy of this event. And then we're going to be announcing some other activities here, including the fact that we will have a sort of a new type event here. It's called the Formula Exhibition,
Hmm.
Historic Corp Formula Exhibition. And what we're going to do is we're going to feature the three open wheel type cars that have run here at Long Beach since 1975, which is Formula 5000, Formula One, and IndyCar, all three of them.
Wow.
However, what we're going to do is different, is we're going to feature them in an exhibition on track Saturday and Sunday together.
Together.
Never been done
Same
before.
time. Wow.
It's going to be crazy listening to those cars, seeing those cars, all different mix and types, but representative of what transpired here, basically during the early years of the event. I think will really be exciting for people.
With
And
that
so,
alone, that should be enough incentive for people to want to say, I want to be a part of that. At the same time, how can you miss it?
all right. Well, I hope so. But and there'll be other things. We're gonna have a walk through history lane where we show people exactly what transpired here every year for the
Hmm.
last 49 years, so they can
The
see,
nostalgia.
and then and for a lot of people coming here, they can take their kids and go, I was there, in 91 or 94, or I watched Paul Tracy win, or Al Unser Jr. or whatever. So it's a way to sort of reminisce a little bit about some of the highlights of their particular journey, over the years.
And I just want to mention again, I think we're all lucky to have you, someone who's been there since the beginning to now, and putting all your heart into it. And I'm curious, when I prep for a really big event, I tend to have a lot of dreams about it. And leading up to an event of this magnitude, celebrating the 50th anniversary, have you had any dreams or 3:30 a.m. thoughts about the race? And have those moments been more about, oh, excitement or, oh, I got to make sure it's all good?
Well, leading up to it, I can tell you it's more the latter than the former, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of moving parts. But the beauty of it is, as I said before, we really have a very experienced team here, and you couldn't take on these kind of events and keep adding these elements that I was discussing with you without knowing that there's a very solid team effort here behind all of these activities. So whether, it's in marketing or hospitality or operations or PR,
Hmm.
whatever it is, I know that when we put this event together, all of these people are going to shine in terms of their own areas of expertise. And for me, the highlight of the weekend is on Sunday night when I'm there greeting people as they're walking out, and they give you a thumbs up and they go, "Hey, Jim, had a
Oh,
great time. Certainly enjoyed it here and hope to see you again next year." Then that really justifies all the time and the effort and maybe waking up at 3:30 in the
3:30.
morning thinking about some of those things that still need to be done and whatever it is. So I mean that's the real payback.
I'm sure you're going to receive a lot of handshakes saying, "Well done, Jim."
Yeah.
And so now I have to ask, during which event are you able to get more sleep? Something like the 24 hours of Le Mans or the lead up to the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach? I'm sure they both come with can't sleep, won't sleep mentality.
Well, they're different
Very.
because they're I've done a lot of endurance racing over the years, Daytona and Sebring and at the Nürburgring and whatever.
Hmm.
And those I tend to stay up for the entire 24 hours. I just find it impossible to even try to go to sleep with all the energy and all of the
All the
activity.
adrenaline.
Yeah, I do try to catch a few hours of sleep here on race weekend, although it's a few, but it isn't 24 hours straight like at the 24 hours of Daytona or at Le Mans or whatever. That's a different
That's a
sort
whole
of
different.
experience. Yeah, it is.
Now, since we're talking about new additions and traditions, I want to talk about how every tradition has a great origin story. For Indy 500, it was Louis Meyer that started the milk drinking tradition at Victory Lane. He explained that it was a perfect beverage on a hot day.
Mm.
Do you ever see the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach having a distinct celebratory drink, perhaps glass of horchata to reflect the city's culture?
Well, we have our relationship with Corbell here,
Hmm.
and do the traditional or more traditional type of champagne celebration here. But you know, I think one of the things that's really sort of unique is that each of the series brings to it its own sort of flavor to it. Okay, and
Hmm.
that's one of the things that's really important to us in terms of assembling the weekend schedule. How do you go about doing it? Who's going to be in it? What's the motivation? What do you so, and that's part of my responsibility is to sit and think about the types of events that people want to see here. Okay. Variety.
Hmm.
What appeals to what groups, ethnic groups, and whatever. And you need to assemble it just like a puzzle, put it all together. Like I say, we have 6 races here. We have open wheel races. We have IMSA, which is sports cars, aspirational cars, cars that people in Southern California would love to own and drive, right? Ferrari,
Oh,
Porsches, Corvettes, BMWs. I mean, these are great cars, and you get to see them racing around on the streets. Then we have Robbie Gordon's trucks flying through the air. Everybody
it's
loves it.
insane.
It's crazy, but you know what? They love it, and I love that they love it. So that's a group. Then we put drifting on, which has a very heavy interest level in amongst Hispanics and young people. So that's an element that's really important to us. And then we put SRO, which is a different kind of sports car race together, and historics. And again, now why do we put historics in here? Because there are a lot of people that see cars that what one maybe they saw when they were younger, or two, they want to experience it because they weren't around in the 1980s or the 90s. And I never had a chance to see that car on the track at Long Beach. So you put all that together.
Like
Now,
diving into a time machine.
exactly. Now you have something that appeals to virtually everybody across the spectrum. Not all of them, maybe. I understand that. But if you're not interested in one particular event, you head up to the
You have
Lifestyle
so
Expo
many
at
options.
270,000 square feet of exhibits and simulators and activity there, or you go to the food truck village, or you stand in line and wait at King Taco,
Exactly.
buy your King Taco because that's what
And then have willpower
everybody.
zooming by you.
That's right. That's
It
right.
really is a
So,
beautiful event. Like you said, there's something for everybody there. You'll never be bored. Even when you're walking around, you have so much to see. It's
right,
beautiful,
right.
entertainment. There's so much.
You
And
know,
now,
right, and quite frankly, Nance, that's one of the reasons why the event has been successful. Because if you've seen what's happened historically with street races, you know, there've been like 40 some odd started since we started the first one back in 75. And there's what, three or four around now. Well, what happened to the rest of them? Well, one of the things that's really important is the host city,
Mhm.
because the host city has to be a place that people want to read, that they view as a destination. Okay, I
Yeah,
want to go there. And great, you know, they have a race, they have all these restaurants, they have all these, but I want to be there. Okay. You know, is that Miami or is it now Vegas?
Mhm.
It's St. Petersburg. There's very few of those. We happen to be one of them. We get to go out. It's right near the water.
Yeah, you
A
literally have
lot
the
of
beach right there.
There's a lot of activities. There's restaurants nearby,
The weather.
hotels, Hyatt's inside the circuit, you know. So there's a lot of things that make it attractive to people who aren't hardcore fans, but say, you know what? That sounds like a neat deal. Let's go spend a day. Or once they do a day, they'll probably come back for another two or three more. So
Definitely.
that's the philosophy about how you maintain interest in an event over a long period of time, as opposed to just doing a big event once or twice or three times. Pretty soon it starts to fade away because
Right.
people start saying, well, I've seen it, I've done it, I don't need to go back anymore. That's the difference.
Yeah. And what's also beautiful about it, like when I went for the first time, I went with my niece who was like 6 years old, and then my dad, 65 years old. And it's just a beautiful time where you said like you could see things that I didn't have the chance to see in the past. It's
Right.
all
Right.
really amazing.
And your 6-year old got in for free.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
another perk.
12 and under are free at this event from the very first day. And here's the irony of that is that now I am meeting people who represent the third generation of people saying, you know, my dad brought me, and now I'm bringing my daughter. And there's three generations that we've all been coming
And
to
we
the
wanted
Grand
to
Prix at various
exactly keep
times.
them
And
coming.
part of that is because children 12 and under have always been welcome here, free admission. So you start to build, you know, the esprit de corps with them early on. So they want to go to the Grand Prix with dad or granddad or grandmom or, you know, whoever it is. And that helps to build that allegiance as time goes along.
No, and so for everybody watching, you could bring your niece, your cousins, everybody at no extra price.
12 and under.
12
Yes.
and under.
Yes.
And okay, here's a really difficult question for you, Jim. You
Okay.
ready?
All right.
Okay, so the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, it's the perfect blend of speed and style. If you had to choose one song to embody the race, what would it be? Maybe something like Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen?
Uh, well, that's an interesting question because we're literally going through the process of thinking about what song or what concert group sort of epitomizes or best reflects on on the legacy of the Grand Prix. Let me just put it that way. And so we're in the middle of doing that and looking at a number of different potential concert performers which sort of capture that spirit of, you know, is it I Can't Drive 55 or something like that that reflects on the fact that, you know, this is a fun, wild experience here, and we want our all of our activities, including the music, to reflect that.
Absolutely. And are you thinking of music from bands or artists that are local to SoCal, or is it?
No, wherever they come from, one, they need to really be in a position to entertain our fans because that's what we want. We want our fans to listen to the music, but also participate in it, you know the music, know the songs, sing along, and do all that because After all, if you're putting on 3 days of excitement and entertainment, your concert should be a reflection of that, right? I mean that it you don't want something real somber or deep,
Oh, no, no.
you
You
want
need
something
to
that,
rev up
yeah,
the engines.
that's right.
No
That's
one's
right.
asking me, but if I were to put a name out there, the
Okay.
Killers can entertain like no other.
Who's that?
The Killers?
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you ever heard I've got soul, but
Yeah, no. They've been on certain lists that we've looked at, but we never have had them here.
no,
We've been doing concerts here for 30 years, so it's been
maybe
quite
the
some time.
50th
Yeah.
year?
Yeah. We'll see what
There,
happens.
there's a name I put in the hat.
All right, I got it. I got it. We'll take that
Now,
into consideration. Yeah.
oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Okay. Now, I wanted to ask you real quick if you could do me the honors of playing a quick word association game just to kind of see what pops into your head with certain words.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, let me get my
Oh,
little podium.
I don't have a little cheat sheet like that, right?
No, 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 whatever pops up. Podium.
Allenzer Jr.
Fan experience.
Um, concert
Penske.
class.
Legacy.
Um, durability.
Food.
King Taco.
IndyCar.
Um, sophisticated, fast and sophisticated.
Tradition.
Um, significant heritage.
Changes.
Uh, necessary, necessary item.
Long Beach.
Um, great host city.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And I
Okay.
have one. By the way, there are no wrong answers, but those were all the right ones.
I know.
Okay. Now I have one last question for you.
Okay.
If our roles were reversed and you were the one interviewing Jim Michaelian, is there a question you would ask that I have not?
Um, yeah, there might be. Why have I done this for so long? And what keeps me motivated to continue on?
Jim, why have you done this for long and what keeps you motivated for so long?
Well, it actually is a two-part answer to that. One is I was always attracted to speed
Mhm.
even as a kid, young kid, got early on, got my first car, didn't have a lot of money, but I went drag racing and did what I could and then accumulated a lot of tickets along the
I
way.
can imagine.
And the second thing was um, the ability to take that avocational interest, speed and energy and racing and all of that, and then to meld it into your vocational activity, uh, which, by the way, was taking place in the city that I lived in, Long Beach. Okay, so my city that I lived in was hosting major racing events, and I love racing. So put it all together, that was the perfect fit for me personally in terms of my involvement with the race. And so once I got on board, and I suggest that for anybody, it's a great combination to put together your avocational and your vocational interests together and engage in them simultaneously as you're going along. And that's been my case. So one of the things that's really been very attractive for me is that I get to do a lot of things in my off hours that I would be doing if I loved the sport and was trying to keep track of what's going on under any circumstances, but it also helps me in my job going going forward. So that's the motivating factor in terms of how I've been able to experience these last basically 50 years.
You're living the dream. It's like when they say when you love it, it's not really work. Obviously, there's stress, but it's easy to go when you love it, and we could see it reflected.
Man, have you come back and refreshed, and what you do in your off hours helps you in your on hours and vice versa. So there's a tremendous amount of synergy there. So it's good.
It is. No, absolutely. Well, Jim, thank you again so much for your time and your insight. The future of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach is bright, and best of luck with your preparations.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you get some sleep. We look forward to celebrating the 50th anniversary of this iconic event, April 11th through the 13th.